A very productive Tuesday. Now here's a sneak peek of tonight's English news edition. Rwanda's Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Ambassador Olivier Nduhungirehe, noted that the relations between Rwanda and Hungary are built on a strong foundation and continue to grow stronger. The Africa CEO Forum, a major continental event, concluded on Tuesday after a two-day gathering in Abidjan, Côte d'Ivoire. On the international scale, on Tuesday, the President of the United States and the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia signed a military cooperation agreement worth over $142 billion, most of which will enable Saudi Arabia to purchase advanced defense equipment. We're glad to have your company tonight, once again coming to you straight from the heart of Africa, Kigali, and I bring you tonight's English news edition is Martina Avera. Let us start off by informing you that Rwanda's Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Ambassador Olivier Nduhungirehe, noted that the relations between Rwanda and Hungary are built on a strong foundation and continue to grow stronger. He made these remarks during the official opening of Rwanda's embassy in Hungary, where both countries reaffirmed their commitment to deepening cooperation in trade and investment, education, and sports.
This visit is a clear reflection of the growing cooperation between Rwanda and Hungary, one that is built on mutual respect, shared values, and a desire to do more together. Our bilateral relationship has made notable strides in recent years. As the Minister said, the official visit of the President of Hungary to Kigali in July 2023, the appointment of the Rwandan's resident ambassador to Hungary here present, and now the inauguration of our embassy here in Budapest, all mark key milestones in our blooming partnership. Today's meeting with the Minister and his delegation allowed us to take stock of our progress and lay the foundation for the next phase of cooperation. We discussed our shared commitment to implement key agreements signed in recent years. We have also explored strategic areas of cooperation in the sectors of trade and investment, education, as well as sports management. And today I'm pleased to be joined by the Rwandan Minister of Sport, Honorable Nelly Mukazayire, and together we will pay a visit to Hungarian Formula One race track and take part of the official opening of Tour de Hongrie. You will be reminded that Rwanda will host the first World Cycling Championship taking place in Africa this coming September, and we have also officially made a bid to bring back Formula One to Africa, a decision announced during the FIA General Assembly, which took place in Kigali last December.
Hungary's Minister of Foreign Affairs, Peter Szijjártó, pointed out that Rwanda is one of the African countries with a strong record of security. He commended Rwanda's active role in contributing to peacekeeping missions across the globe. Ambassador Olivier Nduhungirehe pointed out that the two sides also discussed regional security challenges, among other key issues.
Rwanda appreciates Hungary's role in supporting our development journey. In particular, we are happy to have partnered with Hungary for the renovation of the Kalingi water treatment plant, a flagship project made possible through a Tide Aid credit. Overall, Rwanda highly values its partnership with Hungary. We want to bring it at a step further, attracting private sector investment to Rwanda. It is in this spirit that our delegation will be holding a roundtable discussion with the business people during our visit. Naturally, we also touched and discussed about regional issues. Rwanda shared its views on the ongoing conflict in Eastern DRC, and we expressed our commitment to the Africa-led peace processes and the complementary confidence-building measures and initiatives led by Qatar and the United States. We believe that a constructive and balanced position from the European Union is necessary to support all these peace processes. And as the Minister said, it is now we have a new momentum for a new approach of global affairs, which is geared toward peace, toward dialogue, and we believe that we need to take advantage of this momentum and work together with our partners from European Union, from the United States and others for peace in our region. And to our Hungarian friends, thank you once again for your warm hospitality and the growing friendship between our two countries. We look forward to building on this momentum for more cooperation, more trade and investment, more shared success for both our nations and peoples. I thank you.
The Africa CEO Forum, a major continental event, concluded on Tuesday after a two-day gathering in Abidjan, Côte d'Ivoire. The forum brought together political leaders, investors, and key decision-makers from across various sectors in Africa. Rwanda once again showcased its openness to investors, highlighting opportunities in industries such as manufacturing, construction and housing, financial services, as well as tourism. Some citizens appreciate the efforts the government has made in monitoring how public funds allocated for development projects are being used. They base their appreciation on the recent report by the Auditor General of State Finances for the fiscal year 2023-2024, which revealed that over 9 billion Rwandan francs were recovered before being misappropriated. Enora Gladys has more.
The new report by the Auditor General of State Finances for 2023-2024 indicates that the number of institutions that received unqualified opinions regarding the effective use of public funds remains low, although it improved from 59% in 2023 to 66% in 2024. Given this still low performance, the chairperson of the Public Accounts Committee, Honorable Valence Muhakwa, points out that these losses are mainly due to poor planning of large-scale projects that end up costing the government huge amounts. When such planning is not done carefully, it becomes difficult to comply with the related regulations. For instance, if it involves a project that requires procurement, the process starts with announcing the tender, signing contracts, and implementing those contracts. That process involves many elements that must be well prepared, such as the budget, the personnel who will oversee the implementation, and in the case of construction, the builders as well as those who will supervise the work. If these aspects are not carefully planned in advance to ensure implementation within the set time frame, that's when the kinds of problems we mentioned tend to arise. The report shows that more than 9 billion Rwandan francs were recovered, some of which had not yet been paid to contractors, while other amounts were reclaimed from public institutions and ministries that were ordered to recover the funds. According to the Auditor General Alexis Kamuhiri, you may find that some of the funds were paid while others were not, and they tell you that the remaining amount will be deducted in the final payment. In some cases, they are told not to pay that amount. There are even times when the money was already dispersed and they were asked to return it. Later, when we go back to verify, we find that some have complied, and for those who haven't returned the funds, we forward their cases to PAC so that the money can be recovered. Citizens say that this money could have been used to benefit the general public and support national development. They commend the audit institution and the government for the strong measures taken to recover these funds. However, each new fiscal year sees a decrease in the number of errors committed by various government institutions in the use of public funds. Honorable Valence Muhakwa, the chairperson of PAC, explains that monitoring the use of public resources is a unique model Rwanda has adopted to ensure accountability and responsibility. He emphasizes that failing to comply with these principles often leads individuals to face justice, setting an example for others to be more cautious with public resources. In the reports we continue to receive, we observe that there are activities that may have involved errors which could lead to crimes related to embezzlement of public funds. All institutions that received negative feedback are given the opportunity to appear before the PAC to publicly explain the issues identified by the Auditor General. The committee then submits a report to the plenary session of Parliament, which adopts resolutions to be implemented. These are later forwarded to the Prime Minister, who must report back on how the resolutions have been enforced.
Thank you, Nora Gladys, for that report. Heading back to the Africa CEO Forum for more information. A major continental event concluded on Tuesday after a two-day gathering in Abidjan, Côte d'Ivoire. The forum brought together political leaders, investors, and key decision makers from across various sectors in Africa. Rwanda once again showcased its openness to investors, highlighting opportunities in industries such as manufacturing, construction, and housing, as well as financial services and tourism. We have more.
On the final day of the Africa CEO Forum, a dedicated panel discussion on Rwanda was held, focusing on the investment opportunities the country offers to those interested in doing business within Rwanda. Michelle Umurungi, the Chief Investment Officer at the Rwanda Development Board, emphasized that Rwanda remains committed to creating a conducive environment for investors.
Rwanda is a place where you can invest because today you can register a company in 6 hours, you can own 100% of your business and repatriate your capital freely. You can invest in a backed legal system that protects contracts and a culture that values delivery. So in essence, we're not just open for business, but we really are structured for it. Our geographical position allows us to become a bridge to markets across the continent. Rwanda is at the heart of a region undergoing rapid demographic and economic growth. Through the EAC, COMESA, and the AFCFTA, we offer preferential access to over 450 million consumers. So whether you're looking to expand in East Africa, establish a regional base, or access Francophone markets through Central Africa, Rwanda is your launchpad. And as you saw in our country's group chat yesterday, size doesn't matter to us. We may be small in size, but we really think at scale, and we build for the long term.
International participants in the discussion commended Rwanda's approach to investment promotion, as reiterated on by Alain Ebozisse, CEO of Africa 50, a Pan-African investment platform for infrastructure projects.
Rwanda offers a compelling case study, I would argue. An administration that has refused to be passive. Instead, this administration, this government of Rwanda and the Rwanda people, under the great leadership of His Excellency President Kagame, is striking strategic partnerships, de-risking investment environment, and inviting global and regional actors to co-create solutions for the future.
Jean-Guy Africa, the CEO of the Rwanda Development Board, explained that Rwanda has prioritized development strategies aimed at accelerating national progress while creating opportunities for investors.
Then the vision is implemented through a series of strategies, 5-year strategies, 5 to 7 years. The one we are currently implementing is called NST2, the National Strategy for Transformation. And it runs from 2024 to 2029. That strategy, which guides the action of not just the Rwanda Development Board, but the government as a whole, has 3 key pillars. The first one is the economic pillar, and here it's all about investments in urbanization, in infrastructure, in agriculture, in tourism, in real estate, all the areas that were mentioned earlier. The second key pillar is social, is the social one, where it's about investing in a better alignment between, in the quality and market relevance of our education, so that's the people coming out of our schools, the skills that they have are increasingly aligned to the labor market and to the workforce of the future.
Rwanda presented several initiatives designed to attract and facilitate investment. These include the establishment of over 9 industrial parks across the country to support manufacturers interested in setting up operations in Rwanda. In the financial services sector, institutions such as the Kigali International Financial Center and the Kigali Innovation City have been launched to support innovation and fast-track financial services and entrepreneurship.
On Tuesday, Rwanda hosted the first international symposium on climate science, bringing together experts, researchers, policymakers, and environmental stakeholders in Kigali to explore strategies for mitigating the impacts of both natural and human-induced factors on climate change. Rwanda is among the African countries that emit the least greenhouse gases into the atmosphere. However, it remains one of the most affected by the adverse effects of climate change, as seen in the repeated complaints from farmers about losses due to excessive rainfall and scorching sun that damages crops. During the first International Climate Science Symposium held in Kigali on Tuesday, it was revealed that if no action is taken to reduce the impact of human activities on climate change, by the year 2050, Rwanda's temperature could rise by between 1.2 and 2.4 degrees Celsius, which would have serious consequences for people and biodiversity. Rwanda has also started implementing some measures to tackle this challenge, as explained by the Minister of Environment, Dr. Uwamariya Valentin.
In Rwanda, according to the recent Country Climate and Development Report, climate change costs 5 to 7% of our GDP annually. This is a significant impact on our economy. Rwanda needs 11 billion USD to build resilience and reduce our GHG emission at the scale of 38% by 2030. To address the above challenge, Rwanda has placed climate resilience at the heart of our development agenda. Rwanda has consistently set ambitious climate targets, and while we are revising our nationally determined contributions, we will once again raise our ambition from the baseline of 38% reduction by 2030 as pledged before. By 2050, Rwanda aims to be a climate neutral nation.
To prevent climate change from worsening, developed countries in particular should increase the financial support they allocate to climate action efforts aimed at reducing harmful emissions. This point was also emphasized by the President of the Republic of Rwanda, Paul Kagame, during the 27th UN Climate Change Conference held in Sharm el-Sheikh, Egypt.
The point is not to generate carbon credits so that others can continue using coal, even as Africa is discouraged from exploiting its fossil fuel resources. The most valuable contribution that developed countries can make is to reduce their emissions faster, while investing with Africa to build sustainable green power. Questioning whether Africa is ready to make use of climate finance should not be used as an excuse to justify inaction.
The symposium also highlighted the importance for each country to establish a robust monitoring, reporting, and verification system to track both the greenhouse gases they emit and the reductions they achieve annually. This data is critical for formulating effective national strategies to combat climate change. The The management of the Bisesero Genocide Memorial in Karongi district has announced that since the memorial was inscribed on the UNESCO World Heritage, the number of visitors has more than doubled, increasing to 10,100 in 2024 from over 4,000 in 2022. They emphasize this as a sign of hope that Rwandans and people from around the world are learning about the history of the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi. This was reiterated on by the Gasozi Genocide Memorial and Site Officer of the Bisesero Genocide Memorial. While many come to honor the over 50,000 victims buried at the memorial, Gasozi highlighted that visitors are also drawn to the powerful story of resilience demonstrated by the Tutsi of Bisesero during the genocide. That history, he said, serves as a vital lesson in the fight against genocide denial, distortion, and ideology. Located on Nyangomo Hill in Tumba sector, Karongi district, the Bisesero Genocide Memorial was established in 1998. On September 20th, 2023, it was officially recognized as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. The memorial continues to receive new burials as bodies of victims of the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi are still being discovered in the surrounding areas, further underlining the scale and impact of the atrocities committed in the region. Rwanda industrialists agree with a report from the National Institute of Statistics of Rwanda, which shows that the sector's output increased by 5%. They say the growth in production is closely linked to an increase in consumers' purchasing power. And our Gladys has more.
The Industrial Production Index compiled by the National Institute of Statistics of Rwanda indicates that industrial output rose by 5% in March 2025 compared to March 2024. This increase is also confirmed by various industry owners, including Bonjour Heightened Products Limited, which reported a 15% rise in production compared to the same period last year. As more people get to know and use our products, including those in rural areas who previously didn't know how to use them, we've seen increased adoption. Nowadays, many people, even from remote areas, know how to use them. This shows our market has been growing daily since our industry started operating in 2019, which has also led to increased production. We have 5 industries across the country, all of which are operating well and have reliable markets. Everything we produce in these industries, such as maize flour, which is in high demand both domestically and internationally, is selling well. We also process rice, and our primary market for rice countrywide is boarding schools. So in general, our market has expanded. Economic expert Straton Habyarimana says that this increase in industrial output plays a significant role in the country's development. The fact that these industries are growing instead of declining is a positive thing for Rwandans. Industries are among the key sectors that create job opportunities. You know that the government has a program to create over 250,000 jobs each year. So as industries grow, they provide more employment opportunities and improve citizens' living standards. These industries also include locally made products which help us fill the gap in what we import. At the same time, local consumption increases because the market has expanded.
bituma tubasha kuziba cya cyuho cy'ibyo twohereza hanze ariko n'ibyo tugura imbere mu gihugu bikaboneka kuri ko babyiyongereye.
This report on the Industrial Production Index shows that mining and quarrying increased by 4.1%, electricity production rose by 23.2%, manufactured goods increased by 1.7%, water and waste management by 1.4%.
turakwibutsa ko buri sosiyete isabwa n'itegeko kubika ibitabo bya sosiyete ndetse no gushyikiriza RDB amakuru abikubiyemo. Ibyo bitabo birimo igitabo cy'abanyamigabane, icy'abagenewe inyungu ku migabane, inyandiko y'amakuru ya sosiyete, ibaruramari ngarukamwaka n'izindi. Gutanga amakuru y'ugenewe inyungu ku migabane wanyura kuri bo.rdb.rw, naho gutanga izindi nyandiko ukanyura kuri org.rdb.rw.
Nyiri muto arababwiraga data bati ntabwo wagira umukamo mwinshi utunze inka imwe, ariko nigeze acika intege. Mama akinjira mu bucuruzi hari abamubwiraga bati ntabwo watera imbere udakorera mu iduka rigezweho, ariko ntibyamusubije inyuma, yakoranaga umwete. Njya muri kaminuza hari abanshidikanyagaho bavuga ko nashobora kaminuza naturuka mu muryango wifashije, ariko byaragiye nandiza amateka mashya. Igihe cyo gutera ishema umuryango wanjye kigeze, bamwe bakomeje kumbwira bati ntabwo watera umuryango wawe ibyishimo n'ishema, ariko narabishoboye. Hari abakekaga ko nasigira umurage ukomeye abankomokaho, ariko ubu mfite uruganda rutunganya amata. Banki ya Kigali yabaye umufatanyabikorwa wanjye mu rugendo rwose, inzozi zanjye zibimamo. Bigereho.
Thank you for sticking with us on RTV News, and welcome back to other stories making headlines on the global scene. On Tuesday, the President of the United States and the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia signed a military cooperation agreement worth over $142 billion, most of which will enable Saudi Arabia to purchase advanced defense equipment. Al Jazeera has a detailed report.
From the moment Air Force One entered Saudi airspace flanked by F-15 fighter jets, Donald Trump enjoyed a royal welcome to Saudi Arabia on his first major international trip of his second term. As the U.S. President's limousine, known as the Beast, approached the royal court, it was escorted by riders on Arabian horses and greeted by an honor guard playing both nations' national anthems. Once inside, Trump, the Crown Prince, dignitaries, and business leaders from both countries participated in a lavish coffee and tea ceremony, the warm relationship between the two leaders on full display.
An honor to you, my friend. We've had a tremendous relationship over the years. It's now a long time. We got to know each other when you visited the White House. I remember it so well, and I was so impressed with this young guy who was very wise beyond his years. He was 31 years old, I think, at the time. He was very wise, and we became friendly.
The White House says the goal of Trump's trip is to deepen ties between the United States and Gulf kingdoms. The U.S. president is also hoping to secure more than $1 trillion in defense spending, up from the current $600 billion already pledged from Saudi Arabia. Ahead of a Saudi-U.S. investment forum, chief executives like Elon Musk of Tesla and Sam Altman of ChatGPT, among other global tech, business, and consumer leaders, joined Trump for his tour, pushing for FaceTime with Trump and the Crown Prince. Saudi Arabia is one of the world's largest investors in artificial intelligence as it looks to diversify its oil-based economy. The goal of Donald Trump's trip is to shore up relations with a trio of key U.S. allies in the region. He also hopes to show, through securing investments from 3 royal kingdoms, that he's a deal-making king on the world stage. Kimberly Helkett, Al Jazeera, Riyadh.
At the China-CELAC Forum in Beijing, President Xi Jinping urged Latin American and Caribbean nations to join China in defending global peace and multilateralism. Trade surpassed $500 billion last year, and Xi announced a $9.2 billion credit line plus visa-free access for 5 countries. Al Jazeera once more.
At a gathering of Latin American and Caribbean officials in Beijing, Chinese President Xi Jinping calls on them to unite with China in defending global peace and multilateralism.
In the face of the bloc confrontation and the surging tide of unilateralism and protectionism, China would like to join hands with the Latin countries to seek development and prosperity and build up a China-Latin American community of a shared future.
Trade between China and the region exceeded $500 billion for the first time last year. Xi has vowed to further deepen economic ties, announcing a $9.2 billion credit line to support development and a visa-free arrangement for 5 Latin American countries. It was his first public statement since China and the U.S. slashed reciprocal tariffs and agreed to a 90-day pause. He said there can be no winners in a trade war, and hegemony only leads to isolationism. Beijing is looking to position itself as a better partner for Latin and Caribbean countries than the United States. It comes as Washington seeks to expand its influence on those regions, including putting pressure on Panama to free its canal from what the Trump administration views as Chinese control. Taking part in the conference are the leaders of Colombia, Chile, and Brazil. Close ties with Beijing are seen as an important counterweight to the U.S.
China is currently Brazil's largest trading partner and is possibly the largest receiver of products produced by our country, especially in agriculture.
Chinese analysts say the meeting reflects Beijing's role as an advocate for nations in the global south.
We want to speak for these countries. We want to speak for their interests. We want to speak for their participation in this order.
China has been expanding its footprint in Latin America and the Caribbean. More than a dozen nations are partners in its Belt and Road Infrastructure Initiative, and about 200 projects have been launched. Beijing also has free trade agreements with Chile, Peru, Costa Rica, and Nicaragua. Some nations, however, are wary. They fear China may be looking to offload cheap goods as a result of overcapacity and have imposed tariffs on Chinese steel to protect their domestic manufacturers. Katrina Yu, Al Jazeera, Beijing.
And that Al Jazeera story marks the end of our bulletin tonight. Before we close off, let's have a recap of our headlines. Rwanda's Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Ambassador Olivier Nduhungirehe, noted that the relations between Rwanda and Hungary are built on a strong foundation and continue to grow stronger. The Africa CEO Forum, a major continental event, concluded on Tuesday after a 2-day gathering in Abidjan, Côte d'Ivoire. On the international scale, on Tuesday, the President of the United States and the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia signed a military cooperation agreement worth over $142 billion, most of which will enable Saudi Arabia to purchase advanced defense equipment. And on that note, we have come to the end of our bulletin tonight. On behalf of the news production team as well as the technical team, thank you for sticking with us on RTV News. And up until next time, stay safe and have a good night.